Moon is one of my favourite movies. It's a wonderfully low-budget movie starring Sam Rockwell, and if you haven't seen it, you should. I want to warn you in advance that there are going to be spoilers in this video. The movie tells the story of astronaut miner Sam, who is stationed on the moon for a 3-year mission to mine precious helium from the surface of the moon and send it back to Earth to help with the resource crisis. Fun fact, the moon really does contain a lot of helium and the Earth really is running out. Anyway, Sam is stationed on the moon for a 3-year contract to mine this precious resource and send it back to Earth. Sam is the only human being on the moon, accompanied only by a semi-sentient AI system named Gertie. Towards the end of his contract, he stumbles across a broken down mining harvester and subsequently a mystery as to how it got there, since he has no knowledge of the event and he's the only human on the moon. He then spends the rest of the movie trying to solve this mystery and finding himself sinking deeper and deeper into a somewhat insidious plot where Moon Sam is actually a periodically destroyed and recreated clone of the real Sam. Clone Sam is permanently stationed on the moon to serve out the perpetual contract, while the real Sam lives at home on Earth and collects the salary that Clone Sam earns. Interspersed between the main plot, Sam receives video messages from his family back on Earth. Sadly, he can't communicate back due to the communication systems not being fully operational. At first viewing, the movie seems like a superb science fiction mystery, but Reddit user KDon1313 recently highlighted an aspect of the movie that I missed in previous viewings. If we take a less literal interpretation of Sam's story, it becomes a deeper and much more haunting and melancholy story. Later in the story, Sam accidentally stumbles across videos made by the real Sam, which have been inside the computer's memory. It's those videos which start to give us another perspective on Sam's story, and potentially another narrative. Consider this. Sam is stuck in a place completely disconnected from the life that he wants, with absolutely no way of communicating or connecting to it. The messages he receives are one-way communication only. Later in the movie, his physical health begins to rapidly decline, and he's essentially trapped in the most desolate and lonely place that any human has ever visited in a body which is slowly failing him. This is almost a perfect reflection of the experience of a patient trapped in a comatose or permanently vegetative state. The facility which Sam lives in and works in is a large mining base which operates almost entirely autonomously without needing Sam to do very much. It contains all the basic features needed to maintain and support its primary function, mining resources. It also contains all the basic resources needed to keep Sam alive, but without providing any of the real luxuries or human comforts associated with normal life here on Earth. It is also missing something which gives a big clue as to what the facility metaphorically represents: communication. If we take all this into account, basic functionality keeps Sam alive, but has no ability to communicate, then it becomes a pretty clear metaphor for the body of a patient trapped in an unconscious state. Throughout the movie, Sam begins to decline physically and has to struggle and watch his body slowly fail him without understanding why until he uncovers the truth about what he is. If you suffered from a condition trapping you inside a body in a permanent state of helplessness, I imagine this is exactly how you would feel. It's a big clue to the fact that perhaps Sam is not really on the moon at all. Maybe Sam is lying in a hospital bed, and perhaps the moon and the job are simply a lucid concoction of a mind pumped full of drugs and struggling to come to terms with the position it's in. This idea is expanded on later when the two clones, both in full knowledge of what they are and their limited lifespan, take both sides of the dichotomy presented to patients with terminal illness, fight against the illness in the hope of gaining more time, or accept the inevitability of death and make peace with it. Sam's only real friend on the moon, apart from Clone 2 later, is the computer called Gertie, whose job it is to tend to Sam's technical and physical needs. Gertie keeps Sam informed of the status of the facility and also helps to nurse him back to health when he's unwell or injured. Gertie executes all of this with a very professional, polite and friendly manner, giving the impression of a human connection but without actually being able to provide the emotional connection that he really needs. This could be a reference to hospital staff and the machinery as they care for his helpless body in bed, constantly tending to his physical needs, knowing that there is nothing that can be done to help him reconnect with the life that he's working towards. Essentially, just maintaining the life he has without being able to provide the life that he wants. It also reflects the kind of helplessness and frustration that many patients with terminal illness feel as medical staff fill the room with positive attitudes and kind words that ultimately do nothing to change the situation. Perhaps the biggest and saddest clue that the movie could be about more than just space mystery is the one-way communication, which is exactly the type of communication someone trapped inside a lifeless body would be restricted to. Every time he sees a new tape, he's filled with equal parts joy and agony, because he sees what he wants, and also the barrier that prevents him from it. The terrible reality for Sam is that the thing which caused him the most happiness is also the source of his biggest pain: hope. As clone Sam slowly uncovers the truth, he also begins to see the life he's been hoping for slowly moving on without him. For patients confined to a hospital bed, able to comprehend but unable to respond, I can't think of anything more terrifying or sad. What makes this more interesting is that it's clone Sam 1, the Sam who saw the horrible reality of the situation, who decides to finally succumb to his condition and essentially end his life, while clone 2, who hasn't had that experience, remains defiant and returns to Earth. Moon is such a fantastic film, and it's definitely a movie which I would recommend to everyone. And reading this perspective on the film gave me even more reasons to revisit it. I hope you will too.